Hi, I'm Annie. FI is hard. I have masculine FI, so that's what I'm talking about. I don't know what it's like to have feminine FI, but I'd love to hear your thoughts. If you have feminine FI, let me know what it's like in the comments. So specifically, the thing that I'm dealing with is frustration. And I'm 44 years old, and I still haven't figured out how to deal with frustration, anger, and rage. What really makes me angry is really just observer freakouts. So it's very rare for me to be that angry at another person. I can get angry at people, people that I'm closest to. My mom can make me angry, my sister, my partner, obviously. Of course, everyone is upset with their partner from time to time. I can deal with sadness really easily and gracefully in a savior state. And I've also learned how to deal with anxiety pretty efficiently. But anger, frustration, rage, those are still things that I have trouble dealing with. And it's kind of embarrassing because I know that there are people who don't freak out. They don't blow their top. They don't feel enraged. They sort of manage upsets and frustrations much more gracefully than I do. So it is a little embarrassing because I feel like it's an area where I'm just like emotionally stunted. Like I feel like I should have figured out how to deal with this by now. My partner feels frustration, when a project isn't working out, but he doesn't blow his lid like I do. I just feel like I'm going to burst into flames. It's just very physiologically disruptive, and there's just this great energy inside of me. It feels like a volcano is going to erupt, and I have to move the energy some way. I really want to find a way to deal with this. I can't believe I haven't figured it out by now. I process sadness daily in, a steady drip of sad doses. I do this in a savior state. The only way around is through. I just feel the sadness and move through it. That feels really natural to me. It doesn't overwhelm me. It doesn't completely wreck me physiologically. Now, I could potentially feel something so sad that it would break me. Like my dog. He's really old. He's 11. I will be sad when he dies, and I'm sure that I'll feel some sort of a physiological disruption from that, like sadness that makes me tired or makes me not feel like eating or that sort of thing. But I feel sadness daily in a savior state, and I manage it really well. 2020 was the year of daily crying. Every time I turn on the radio, just heartbreaking things, heartbreaking stories from people who are dealing with, the bizarre circumstances of the global pandemic. And also frequently things are just too beautiful to bear, music or just certain things are too beautiful that I can't hardly stand it and I cry. For example, like if you've ever listened to Ave Maria, the song, or Pie Jesu, I cannot listen to Pie Jesu without crying unless it's a really shitty version. But there's some really beautiful versions out there. Just like give me a 9-year-old boy singing Pie Jesu and I'll just be destroyed. Too beautiful to handle, and I have to cry. I have to just move that energy through me in some physical way. So when it comes to actual depression, like the listless feeling of not wanting to do anything and not being interested in anything, I have had major episodes of that in my lifetime. I haven't felt that for a while, at least not for many days in a row. So I might feel that way a little bit for, 1 to 3 days every once in a while, but I feel like I know what to do when I feel that. So my tactic when I feel that way is self-discipline and action. I feel like for me, action is the antidote to depression because I don't want to do anything. I don't feel interested in doing anything, but I just get up and do things anyway. Just putting one sad foot in front of the other. So if I feel really sad, I don't feel like getting any exercise, but I know it's the right thing to do to move me through the depression, then I will just simply take my depression on a walk. I might do something like dance for 10 minutes, even though it feels really stupid and hollow. Or I'll play guitar and I'll play a song that I know really well. I know the song in my body, and it's a song that I know that I like because I've liked it in the past, even though I don't feel like singing it right now. And again, it feels really hollow. But somehow taking action moves me beyond that space of inertia and just feeling completely stuck. Anxiety is another thing that I've just kind of figured out how to deal with. I do feel anxiety, but I just step outside of myself and observe it, and I keep my physiology in check. So if the anxiety is starting to wreck me and I'm getting a lot of like stress hormones hormones built up, I just take care of myself with exercise, visualization, relaxation. But the trick for me with anxiety is a lot of just stepping outside of myself and saying, I'm feeling anxious right now. I mean, it's really that simple. And anxiety is not the world ending. Anxiety is just anxiety. I feel anxious. It's just like if it's raining outside and I say, it is raining outside. I feel anxious. I'm not going to die. It's okay. Things will look better in the morning. There are solutions. This will pass. And then I do some of the other things that I might do, like the same as when I'm feeling depressed, like get exercise, go for a walk, sing, dance, even maybe just take a break from feeling anxious. Say, I'm feeling anxious right now. That's okay. I'm going to take a break for 10 minutes and play guitar. And that works for me. It works really well. So anxiety isn't eliminated. It's just something that comes up every once in a while and it's no big deal. I don't freak out about it. But when it comes to frustration, I really don't know what to do. I'm just really not that good at dealing with it. I get so angry. It's not even angry. I would say rage. It's more like rage. I feel like I'm going to burst into flames. And I feel like I have to move the energy physically in some way. And it's really dangerous energy. You know, it's the kind of energy that wants to break things. It makes me feel like I want to break things, you know, or pull my own hair out. Just like really dramatic, violent things. Not directed at other people, usually just like ruining shit, you know, throw the fucking computer out the window and, you know, pull out my hair or like beat my fist against the table and then, you know, my hand is hurt because I just had to move that energy in some way. And I feel embarrassed by it because I know that other people get frustrated and that doesn't happen to them. Somehow they deal with it in a more balanced, mature way, like my partner. He gets frustrated when he's working on projects, but he never loses it the way that I do. This year, like January and February, I've had like an onslaught of technical difficulties, just computer issues. I had trouble with this bureaucratic agency trying to renew my massage therapy license. That was double frustration because not only could I not get the thing that I had studied for and paid for, I also just felt really controlled and trapped by just a completely dysfunctional bureaucratic agency. It would just really triggered me. Another issue was trying to get one of my domains authenticated. I could not get this, I'm trying not to cuss. I couldn't get the domain authenticated. And every time you create the new DNS record, you have to wait like 48 hours just to find out that maybe it failed. And I went through like 10 cycles of this. And so it's just been weeks of failure. Not being able to move on to the important stuff that I really need to be doing, the marketing and organizing my store and listing items. I was just stuck at this very first step of this problem. That was incredibly frustrating. One thing that was maybe good about it though, I'm trying to see how all of the hard things are good. The good thing about it failing over and over again was that it was sort of like exposure therapy. That, you know, the first several times I got pissed off, you know, banged on my keyboard, screamed, just couldn't take the frustration, just couldn't bear it. But after it failing over and over again, it was just like, okay, this thing again. Let's like see what the customer service says I should do this time. They were all telling me different things. And, you know, they were really confused about why it wasn't working. And so it was just really frustrating dealing with like 6 different customer service reps that were telling me contradictory information. So that was sort of immersion therapy. And it was kind of cool that, you know, after a while, I was like, okay, we're going to do the thing again. And I started to behave more like the way that my partner would behave. He would just really stay in that solution minded and just get really ST clear about the steps. Like first we do this and then we do this, like taking his time, really sticking with the ST, like present with each individual step. Where, you know, maybe why I was messing it up was that I was zooming out and generalizing too much, as I have a tendency to do. So maybe I was overlooking some of the tiny little ST parts that needed to be in place. The domain is finally authenticated. Honestly, I have no idea why. I don't know what finally worked. I just checked it one day and it was authenticated. And I really have no idea why it didn't work all the other times and why it suddenly worked. I don't know. But there are more frustrations around every corner. There's just frustration is part of life, and I want to know how to keep my cool a little bit better when these frustrating things come up. When I was dealing with the Oregon Board of Massage Therapists trying to renew my license, it was just massively frustrating, triggering because I felt controlled and trapped by this bureaucratic agency. And some of the local massage therapists were talking about how dysfunctional this system was online. Many other people were having trouble renewing their license, and it was just a joke. It's so unnecessarily dysfunctional. They could fix this. I don't know what the fuck they're doing, but it does not need to be this complicated and frustrating. So one of the things that I experiment with in order to make myself feel better when I'm frustrated is to just be playful and find the humor in it. So I did something that I thought was really funny. I actually went to the Oregon Board of Massage Therapists online into their system and filed a complaint against myself. And then in the little space to, write the text about the complaint, I just used that space to communicate with them because I was having so much trouble getting any communication. They were not returning phone calls or emails, just incredibly frustrating. And I thought that was hilarious. I mean, it was sort of one of those FI amusing things, like, yeah, fuck it, I'll just file a complaint against myself. Like, I thought it was really funny and creative and clever, and I still do. But someone online in the Facebook group, a local massage therapist, thought that it was self-destructive behavior, that you shouldn't say a bad word against yourself. But I just didn't see it that way at all. I wasn't trying to hurt myself in filing a complaint against myself. I was just doing this disruptive, turning over the tables, thinking out of the box, just MacGyver style creativity to hack this ridiculous problem. And it made me feel better. It made me feel like I was taking a productive action towards my end goal. And it was also just amusing to me because oh, look at me, I'm filing a complaint against myself. And what do you have to do around here to get your license renewed? I thought it was funny. I don't think that it was self-destructive because even if they decided to investigate this claim that I filed against myself, if they wanted to actually spend their time and resources doing that, what they're going to find out in the end is that they created this problem because their system is just completely dysfunctional. And sometimes creative people are going to resort to these things when the system is totally unusable. So I'm not worried about it at all. And honestly, I don't think that they have the resources to investigate it. Anyway, they are welcome to come over here and see what I do in my office and how I conduct my business. So I didn't think that the person that made that comment was right. I thought she was just seeing it from a different perspective. But the reason that it bothered me is because she doesn't know me and she doesn't know that that was progress for me. Being silly and being creative is progress. If she could really see some of the other ways that I deal with frustration and anxiety, like throwing shit out the window, then she would understand that what I was doing was actually progress. It was a good thing for me. So after dealing with, January and February just full of frustration pretty much every day, technical difficulties, just millions of technical difficulties, I was so exhausted, and I noticed that I just naturally started to focus on more self-care activities. So I was taking my dog out more for walks. He's older, he's 11, so I was taking him out for his walks. And then I also started training our yearling poodle that we have to run. So now that she's finally a year old, she can start learning how to run with me. So I was doing that. And I also started laying in my sauna blanket more. I actually forgot that I had a sauna blanket. It was packed away, but I was remembering how much I love sweating. I love just the radiant heat. So I zip myself up in this sleeping bag that's heated, and it just has, radiant heat that radiates into my body, and I start sweating, and I lay there and I listen to visualizations. And then after that, my body is so warm that it's a natural moment to do some stretching. So I started incorporating a lot more stretching into my routine, which is good because I sit an awful lot for my work as I'm working on ceramic art. The other thing that I did, it doesn't objectively sound very healthy, but it was a really healthy choice for me, When I'm sitting and making the ceramic earrings, I listen to podcasts or the radio or listen to just like research or instructional information about the topics that I'm interested in. I'm always learning new things and, trying to understand the world and understand myself, focused on my own self-growth. And I do this just by the content that I consume. Really high quality, meaningful, instructional content. Well, I was so wrecked from all this frustration, just on a physiological level. Like my body was wrecked. I was sick with stress hormones that I just didn't want to study anything rigorous. So for several weeks now, I have just been watching this one sitcom. It's called The Big Bang Theory. It's, pretty funny, pretty stupid. And while I'm working on these earrings for hours and hours, I spend hours of my week doing this. I'm just watching that sitcom, like from the beginning until, however much is on HBO. I think it's like 9 seasons or something. And that's not like me. It's out of character, but it feels so good to just check out mentally. And it's just like this mindless, stupid, feel-good consumption. And I'm not trying to learn anything. I'm not trying to figure anything out. Because if I start taking more online courses like I usually do, I'll probably run into more technical difficulties. Like I really need to learn how to use Pinterest to drive traffic, but the last thing that I want to do is set up my Pinterest account right now when I've already just like had so many technical difficulties. I can't get frustrated again. I need to take a break or I'm going to kill myself with frustration. So I need to just kind of recalibrate and then get my mind in a better place before I attempt to do anything difficult or potentially technically fraught. So anyway, I would love to hear your thoughts on FI. I think maybe for other people, possibly sadness is harder, but they deal with frustration and anger better, or maybe anxiety is the real thing. For whatever reason, I don't know why I really have a problem with anger. I mean, I wonder if I'm resisting it, When I feel the sadness, it moves through me and I don't resist it. And when I feel anger, I don't really resist it, but it just feels bad. It feels so icky. Like I don't want this to be happening right now. It doesn't feel possible to just sit and let anger move through me without some sort of action. And I feel like it's a safer choice to hit my massage table. There's a massage table over here. If I bang my fist into the massage table, that is expending that energy and it's not hurting anyone. There's just something about frustration that I am not understanding. Like other people are dealing with it more gracefully and I'm tired of it wrecking my physiology. When I encounter frustrating problems, I really want to find a way to just stop and be more like my partner. Stop and just stay calm and stay with the solution. And, if you do that for a few hours and you're not getting anywhere, just take a break and do something else. I found it was really hard this last month when I tried to take a break from the massage therapy licensing problem. I just pointed to my license. I finally got it. It's sitting over there and in a frame on my table over there. I found it hard to take a break from that. Like I was still thinking about it and like ruminating about how messed up the system was and how frustrating it was and what can I do tomorrow to try to move closer to that goal. I kept thinking that maybe I'm not trying hard enough. Maybe I'll try a different approach tomorrow and maybe it will work. Where really that stuff was never going to work. It's on them. Their system is messed up. And really just waiting, I guess, for them to figure it out was the thing that finally got my license to come through. And then I think they did get a lot of heat from people in the community. I was reluctant to call them. I didn't call them very many times. I just emailed them because I know that I cannot keep a lid on it. And I'm not going to call someone a cunt or, spit in anyone's face, but I am going to sound frustrated. It's hard for me to not sound frustrated. And I can be sarcastic, even though I know it's not the person's fault specifically on the end of the telephone line. I know it's not that person's fault. Everybody's just doing their job, but the system as a whole is dysfunctional. So I'm not going to cuss anyone out, but I do get kind of sarcastic. And I know that that is not productive. That's not going to help me get my license any faster. It's just not going to be a productive conversation. So I refrained from doing that. But other people in the community did make a lot of phone calls and a lot of complaints. And they made a sort of apology. Not really. They sent out an email. It was actually really pretty defensive sounding. It really wasn't very apologetic, but I think they know what they did. Anyway, yeah, I'm rambling now. Let me know, how do you deal with frustration? How do you deal with anger? Do you feel like throwing shit out the window, or like, do you do something else? I mean, are you able to just stop and like go eat a piece of chocolate or go get a massage or what? I don't know, because I get really distracted by it, and yeah, I just don't know. Please help me. Please tell me how to deal with this.